Hi, this is Phil from PDQ Merchant Enterprises and the ATM Mastermind group page, and today we're talking about getting into the ATM business. So many times during the course of the day, I might look on YouTube, I might see other people talking about how wonderful the ATM business is and how much money you can make on it, and they're driving Bugattis and they show mansions and speedboats and all this, and they're flashing thousands and thousands of dollars. And they're making the ATM business seem like it's just, you're blowing up. And it can be that way, but it's going to take a lot of effort and some time to do that. So today what I want to talk about is, how do you do that? So when I think about the ATM business, I remember when I was a kid, there was a song, Oh Mickey by Tony Basil. Now some people won't even know who Tony Basil is, and some people just remember the name. And a lot of times on YouTube, you see people talking about the ATM business more like a one-hit wonder, where you're blowing up, people are playing your song, people are watching your video, and that's not necessarily the case. But the ATM business is more like the Rolling Stones, where you're gonna have hit after hit after hit for generations, and that is more like how the ATM business is, not just this one-hit wonder. So it's going to take hard work, it's going to take some time, some perseverance, and then you can be successful in the ATM business. And so it is a slow and steady revenue stream, and it's good. And what could it produce? So it's going to produce somewhere between, depending on the location, between $200 and $500 per month, month after month after month. And you're going to keep on producing these hits and these great songs, and every song is just going to be another location where you're going to get in there and you're going to do the work, you're going to do your background checks, you're going to do your due diligence, and you're going to put an ATM in a good, successful location, and you're going to make that $200 to $500 month after month after month. What is the cost? What does the ATM cost? So the general ATM is going to cost you between $2,300 and $2,500. Now, variations of that are going to be if you're going to put in any additives, a sign on top, or a 2K cassette, or some of the Trump tariffs that we have could hinder the price and maybe make it move up or down $100, depending on what time of the year you're at and what our government is doing. Also, the manufacturers of the ATM, they'll run specials when they want to get a lot of inventory out. They might do something usually like a June to do a blowout sale and get rid of a lot of inventory, or at the end of the year. They tend to do that, not every year, but probably every other year they'll do something either June or December. So the price might come down $100 or $150, and then the next year it might go up. But usually, I would say for the last 5 years, it's somewhere between $2,300 and $2,500. And sometimes if you buy in bulk, or you buy and you pay cash, or not cash, but you pay right away, you can get a better price. The other questions we get asked is, well, what do we put into the ATM? How much money do we put in? That's going to vary on how long between fills that you're going to put in the money in the ATM. But generally on a week basis, depending on what the location is, I would think for every location, we give a cost average of about $3,000 per ATM is what we bank on putting in the ATM. But somewhere, just to give you a ballpark, is like $2,000 to $5,000 is what, it might be a little less, like it might be $2,000, or the location might be $5,000, but figure on a cost per average of about $3,000. How long does a location usually last? Most of your location agreements are going to be somewhere around 5 to 10 years, depending on how you want to set it up for your own business. And the location will last anywhere from about 3 to 8 years on the average. The business owners will change hands from time to time, and it's at that time when they change hands where you might either lose a location or pick up a new one. But generally, I would say 3 to 8 years is the average when we look at all our business that we've been doing with for the past 20 years. we'll see that it's about 3 to 8 years that most businesses stay in business and that we retain the location. So the revenue stream basically is, in the ATM business, it's pretty much, it'll start down here when you put in a new ATM in a location that never had an ATM, and it'll build and build and build, usually about 6 months, and then it pretty much flattens out. Now there will be movements like this for seasonality, depending on if it's a summer location or a winter location or a bar or restaurant. So it has little seasonalities to it, but for the most part, it's a pretty constant number. And you could figure somewhere between, between 1 and 200 transactions for normal locations. And then maybe if you have an average of, let's say, 200, maybe in peak season it might go up to 250 or 3, but in the slow time you might get down to 150. So, and what are some of those changes? It depends on what you have. If you have a gas station, you might have a Powerball situation where Powerball started at $100 million and it's going to 200, 300, 400, $500 million. Then people are coming into that gas station a lot to buy lottery tickets, and a lot of times you'll see the ATM spike and do a lot of transactions because people are chasing that big Powerball jackpot, and they might take where they used to just come in, take out $40 and buy their gas and maybe get some food, a container of milk or some product. Then they're like, oh, I'm gonna buy some lottery tickets. So they might take out $200, spend $100 on a lottery, and then buy their gas and get some groceries. So we see a lot of times when we have a big run on the Powerball, we'll see a spike in the ATM for that 2 or 3 weeks during, if nobody wins. And actually it's kind of exciting because you're like, I hope nobody wins this week. So we'll continue to see that spike at our convenience store or at the gas stations in that particular state or that area. And then the other situation is maybe on summer, if you have summer locations or let's say golf courses or resorts, you'll also see that uptick. And we have a customer and they have a bunch of golf courses, and then when golf season is done, usually we're up north, so at the end of, let's say, October, first couple weeks in November, they'll remove those ATMs, and they have some ski resorts. And so what they'll do is they'll put the ATMs in the ski resorts. Most of those resorts will start right around November 15th, depending on weather, and then they start going around Thanksgiving, and they'll go all the way to usually right around St. Patrick's Day, March 15th to March 20th, depending on weather again. But then they'll remove those ATMs on the ski resorts and they'll put them back in for the golf courses. So that's usually how, but for the most part, I would say the revenue is pretty flat with little spikes, but not major ones. Hope these tips are helpful. You can always like and subscribe our YouTube channel. And we look forward to you joining our ATM Mastermind group page to answer any and all questions that you have related to the ATM business. And so we can continue growing you on your path to financial freedom and passive income. Thank you.